Hey, what's up guys? Wouldn't you know it? It seems as though some of these rumors about ZombiU actually making it over to the other current gen consoles, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, seem to be coming true, although I really didn't want to say that they're coming true. It's just that there's new facts that have surfaced today that seems to show some sort of potential possibility for this game making it to those other consoles. So this was a weird rumor that started, I think around, 3 weeks or maybe a month ago, where it was being reported that maybe ZombiU is going to be jumping ship from the Wii U as an exclusive and becoming a game made by Ubisoft, ported over for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, people went up in arms on all sides of the fence on if they wanted this to happen, if they didn't want this to happen, if it made sense for this to happen, if it didn't make sense for this to happen, if it would be a good thing if it happened, if it would not be a good thing if it would happen, all these different sort of things. And I've been of the mindset that it makes no sense for this to happen. I still kind of stand by that. I don't understand, why this game would have any reason to make it over to those consoles for a couple of reasons that I'll get into in a minute. But long story short, there was a couple of small rumors about some ratings or something that was going, I think an Amazon listing maybe is what it was, that made it seem as though, ZombiU may be making it to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Maybe we'll hear about it as an official announcement from Ubisoft at E3. That never did happen at E3, and, I maintained before and during E3 that there was no reason why I would ever see that being a possibility. Now, today, there's been a little bit of news where apparently there's a Taiwanese website. A Taiwanese website. I mean, just let that sink in. I mean, that's how obscure of a rumor we're coming to, and it doesn't completely discredit it, don't get me wrong, but we're reaching for sure. A Taiwanese I can't even say it. A Taiwanese website has listed a game called Zombie, minus the U, and rated it. So it's got a rating, I'm probably a mature rating. I actually didn't double check that. But it's basically got a game rating, an age rating on it, and there's a picture that you can find of what the game looks like, or some sort of picture relating to that game on the Taiwanese website. And it looks like the zombie from the cover of ZombiU inside of a close-up of like a zombified eyeball. So, the artwork looks like something that would kind of fall in line with the original ZombiU, but I don't really know that it's necessarily official, and all the writing is in Taiwanese, so that's why I think we're actually getting these rumors of websites saying, it's been translated to say that it's a rating for a game called Zombie, and I guess it's from Ubisoft. I don't really know if anyone confirmed that, but, because of that, it's a lot of people are treating it that now the rumor of ZombiU potentially becoming ported to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 seems to be becoming more and more true, and I get that. I mean, this rumor certainly makes it seem like there's more evidence to the case, but man, there's just no reason why I would see this game getting ported to the PlayStation or Xbox, and again, it's not that this is impossible. I'm not going to try to sit here and say, it's never going to happen, and then have it happen and feel like I'm that guy who was proven wrong. I certainly don't want that to be the case. But there's a lot of evidence stacked up against why this would ever happen. So I do have to say that I love ZombiU to death. Let me get that out of the way really quickly. I picked it up launch day with my Wii U. It is a game that I will still go back and play on occasion. I think that the Gamepad usage was revolutionary and an amazing example of why the Wii U is great and the Gamepad could be awesome if capable developers decided to spend their time and energy and creativity into making it work. That part is fantastic. The game is also scary as hell. And scary as hell in the sense that it just creates this fear of dread and tenseness that not a lot of games nowadays can create. It was a true survival horror in the truest sense of that word and definition. I think it's a fun as hell game. Visually, it looked good, but it didn't look as good as obviously it could be. It was a launch game for the Wii U, so it was only going to be able to do so much. But I really appreciated the atmosphere and tone. I think that that's what it achieved visually and sonically, with how the game sounded. The ambience was just off the charts in that game. Wonderful gamepad, like I said. Really kick-ass game for the Wii U. Now, when you talk about if the game is going to come to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, there's so many ideas that come into your head. The first one that everyone talks about is the fact that, there wouldn't be a gamepad for those versions, would there? And no, there wouldn't. And I'm telling you, that adversely affects how that game could possibly work on another console. To me, so many aspects of that game are woven into the gamepad integration that it is literally it is a shell of its former self if this game were to release on one of those consoles and not have a gamepad. I mean, the Wii U is the system that game makes possible, or I should say, wait, the Wii U makes that game possible because of the kind of system it is. That was the sentence I was looking for. You know, it really thrived on the capabilities and innovations of the Wii U, and I like my PlayStation 4 and I like my Xbox One, you know, just fine. They're fine systems and capable, as you've heard me say. However, they can't emulate the ZombiU experience. In my opinion, ZombiU is meant to be a gamepad experience. That is what makes it shine. To me, I don't care if they can make the game look a little bit better because, you know, the hardware is a little bit more powerful for sure, but it's also been a couple of years. Yes, the game might look a little bit better if they ported it, but I'm telling you guys, without that gamepad controller, the game would be a downgrade. It would be a less capable, less revolutionary, less next generation game if we remove the next generation controls that game had and gave it a regular controller with slightly better visuals. To me, the offset of better visuals to better control is not even. I will take the better control and the gamepad integration over a slightly prettier looking game any day of the week, and ZombiU is a perfect example of that. And I'd have to feel that Ubisoft simply knows that, hey, this game was created for the gamepad. It has to be there, and without it, it's simply not ZombiU. And now, I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but the game that they're talking about is Zombie without the U. I think I did mention that, so I do need to reiterate that point just in case. You know, and I'm going to get into why that's important in a minute. But yeah, like I said, it's no gamepad, doesn't make any sense. Here's another reason, and this one actually hurts to admit. Although that game was mediocrely received, you know, a lot of reviewers gave it pretty good reviews. A lot of gamers really like it, but not every reviewer gave it good reviews, and not every gamer liked it. That game is fairly divisive. And I mean, it sold 700,000 copies, which is certainly successful, I think, in its own right, but I know Ubisoft kind of looks at it as a flop, but it's like they weren't considering that, hey, this was a launch game. When a game comes out for the launch of a console, there's only so many consoles available for anyone to pick up a copy of your game. So considering it did 700,000 for a game that was at launch, I think that's actually pretty respectable. But I know that the game cost a pretty penny for Ubisoft. They see it as really not a big success. And because it wasn't overly, you know, critically received fantastically and gamer reception was mediocre at best, that's another reason why I don't think that they would bring this game to the other systems, because to be honest, I don't think there's a market for it. There's not a demand for it. This isn't a game, and this isn't a game that other gamers who don't have a Wii U have been clamoring for. Now, I think it should be a game they've been clamoring for because, as you've heard me say, I think the game is amazing, and the control is something that everyone needs to experience to see what the gamepad can actually do and how it can add to a game. But as much as I want that to be the case, it isn't the case. So it's not like this is a game that people and gamers have been fighting for and demanding, like, you know, like Bayonetta 2, for example, if you want to talk about a Wii U game. That's a game that non-Wii U gamers are fighting for and they'll never get. No one has been fighting for ZombiU, not because it's not a great game, but because a lot of people didn't love it. So why would they think that this is a game that's worth their time and energy and money to port, especially when you'd think they'd have to do a lot to make this game work without the gamepad? I mean, they'd have to change a lot of the basic fundamentals of ZombiU to make it a game that could play without a gamepad on a PlayStation or an Xbox. They simply would. And again, this is not a game people are clamoring for, so I don't really see why Ubisoft would see any sort of benefit to porting this game. I think that this whole long diatribe about ZombiU and why I love it and should it be ported, should it not be ported, is that there doesn't seem to be sufficient evidence to prove that why Ubisoft would want to port this game. People aren't dying for it. It didn't sell fantastically well on the Wii U. It's not going to sell fantastically well on the Xbox or PlayStation 4. Honestly, I think it'll sell worse on those systems than it did on the Wii U. And there's no gamepad, so you're completely restructuring the entire experience of ZombiU to make it work for a system for gamers who don't want to play that game. It's just, I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It just blows my mind. Now, here is the last point / 2 points that I want to make about this. I was reiterating the whole idea of, you know, this rumor about the Taiwanese website is about a game called Zombie, not ZombiU. So they removed the U because, of course, the game would be not on the Wii U. And, you know, people think it's going to be a ZombiU port. Like, okay, I get that. That could be true if, in fact, this rumor was true, which I don't believe this rumor, but if it was. Now, I do like to wonder if maybe the reason the game is called Zombie is because it might be made by Ubisoft, the same team, with the same style and set in the same universe, like almost like a sequel. But what if it's not ZombiU? What if it's not a port of the game that released on the Wii U? But what if it's a different game that's in that zombie, quote unquote, series or canon or universe? Like I said, what if that's what it is? And if that's the case, that means they can build a zombie/ZombiU experience from the ground up to work without the gamepad, because it's not porting the version that exists that relies on the gamepad at every turn. It would be a brand new game using the same assets in the same world. Like I said, maybe in London, maybe in a different city. Who knows what they would want to do? But they take that game and just basically make it a spin-off, you know? Or, of course, a sequel. I feel like a sequel would be a better idea. Even though I would want that sequel to also come out on the Wii U, we know that Ubisoft has its head up its ass when it comes to Nintendo and the Wii U. That's old news, so that probably wouldn't happen. You know, I mean, in a perfect world, what I would like to see happen would just be a ZombiU 2 released for the Wii U and the Wii U only, taking that gamepad to even the next level that Ubisoft did initially, but that's not going to happen. So this zombie game is either it doesn't exist, which is still my number one theory, or it's a port of the Wii U version that's going to be an unmitigated disaster in terms of quality and in terms of sales and reception. Or it's going to be a spin-off that's simply in the same universe, but is not a direct port of the Wii U version, so that it's not going to rely on the gamepad. Or it could be a sequel. I mean, those are pretty much the four options as I see them. And like I said, I'm putting my money on the option that says this game doesn't exist, you know. And I get that there's rumors, I get that there's articles and there's reports and there's websites and there's ratings boards and there's all these different things. And, you know, hey, if it comes true, then it comes true. And I'll make a video discussing the facts once we have them, once it's true. I have no problem doing that. But, I mean, am I wrong? I feel like there's no incentive for Ubisoft to make this game. This game is not going to make back the money it would cost them to downgrade it and port it to the other consoles. As much as I want as many people as possible to play it, you know. And like I said, I love my PlayStation 4 and I love my Xbox One. You guys hear me say that on many videos because I always like to remind anyone who might be new to the channel as of this video. I'm not dissing those systems, but I'm telling you, the way the Wii U version of ZombiU is created, they would have to downgrade it to make it work on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or the PC or whatever. And no, having a tablet sitting next to you on the couch like a smart glass thing isn't going to cut it. It's not going to be the same. It needs to be the controller that's in your hand, like the gamepad. It needs to be able to do all the gyroscope stuff and the touchscreen stuff and the speaker stuff and all the things that the gamepad does and work seamlessly with the console to make that game work. And it's not going to be possible with smart glass. It's not going to be possible on the PlayStation or Xbox. I want people to play this game, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Ubisoft needs to see that this was a great game they made and they need to see further success with it. But I only want that so they could make another game for the Wii U and use the gamepad in a better way. And like I've already said a couple times, that's just never going to happen. So, you know, I'm talking myself in circles now. I think I've pretty much gotten most of my ideas out. ZombiU is amazing. And it's great as a Wii U game. It makes no sense. I see no reason why Ubisoft has the incentive to make this game for the other consoles. I think they would lose money. I think the interest isn't there, and I think that the quality of the game will suffer because it won't be on the system and the controller intended. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? As always, I love to hear your guys' theories. Do you think that I'm completely batshit crazy and they should just make the game for the other systems and people will love it and it'll be a great, wonderful, happy time? Or do any of my points make any sense? Do you think that there's any reason for Ubisoft to make this game? I mean, I just don't see why there would be, but maybe you guys think differently. You know, share your thoughts below. Thanks as always for tuning in. Again, this is Rob from Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.